I think that we are always seeking validation and we look for other people. And I think that that's important. Yes. But you need to trust your gut. You need to get different advice from different people and really trust what you think and how you should practice and what you do.
All right. Today on the Rainmakers Network podcast, we have Duy Gangi from Gangi Legal Care. She is a fantastic resource to learn how to be an incredible rainmaker. She has niched down. She is known as a dental lawyer, and she has been growing dental practices throughout Florida. She does an amazing job. Her family's in the dental arena, and you really got to listen to this podcast. She's going to share some of the ways that she has networked and grown her business and become an amazing rainmaker.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
We had lunch like a few weeks ago, right? A month ago. And it was a pleasure meeting you in person and hearing about your business. But you're a fantastic lawyer. So tell me, because you've done something really incredible. You've niched down. But I want to tell me a little bit about your background before you made that niche down into what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Our lunch was wonderful. So background, I'm Venezuelan. I'll tell you my speech, what I always say when I'm introducing myself. I'm Venezuelan. I came here when I was 9, grew up, FAU, Nova Law. I have Italian origins, so my dad's Italian. I did the dual degree program in Nova. So I went to Italy, and I'm actually a JD. I have my JD in Italian law. Came back, and I decided to work with Italians. That's what I wanted to do. So I started working at a law firm that primarily focused Italian real estate and corporate law. And I was there for a year, and it was great. High-end. They had high-end clients and every type of purchase that you can imagine of foreign investors. I loved it. I loved it because I was in my Italian, my entire background. So I loved it. And we did real estate and corporate law, and I was there for a year. When I was in the middle of my first year, one of their clients was like, I want her to handle all of my business. And I was like, me? you know how the feeling of
of course,
baby attorney that you don't know. You're like, what, me? And I did for 6 months. And after the year, I was like, you know what? I think I can do this on my own. So I had one of my friends that we went to law school with, and he was actually litigating the same areas of law. He was doing civil litigation. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and we're going to be a litigator. And that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to go and fight and do the whole thing. So I started in real estate and corporate law. And we ended up getting a third partner. And he focused on estate planning and probate. So those were essentially the 3 areas of law that we were servicing: real estate, corporate, and estate planning. I was doing the transactional mostly, and they were doing most of the litigation. And so that partnership ended in 2023. And
a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago. So 7 years ago. And I decided to go fully on my own. I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this fully solo practitioner. I can do this. And I realized in my corporate law practice, every industry that I got into, there's a big learning curve. If you want to be a good attorney, I mean, you can take on a case and probably get a template and figure it out. But if you really want to be a good attorney, you have to dive into the industry. And there's a big learning curve in every single industry that you go into. So I niched down. It was really scary. And I figured I'm going to narrow down my corporate law practice and I'm going to narrow it down, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And so I come from a background. My mom was a dentist in Venezuela. So we came here, and it took her 22 years or 23 years to get her dental license here, because we were immigrants coming in, learning the language, passing the boards, going to school. So it took her a really long time. So in the meantime, I've always been intertwined with dental and dentist and how to help dentist and my mom, when she got her license, I'm Latin. you become the attorney for the family. Yeah. It's just not by choice. So I really got in the industry. I mean, and then when I became the attorney, they would come to me and tell me, okay, how do we do this? Can you figure out what happens in these situations? How do we buy? And now I had that corporate law experience. So I just applied it and little by little started going into the industry. So in 23, when I went on my own, I said, dental it is. I love it. I'm in it. My family, we have our business. So I said, dental is going to be the niche down of my industry. It was really scary. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as you're going out on your own, I had a book of business that came with me from my old partnership, but still that narrowing it down and it was really scary, but it was the best thing I could have done. I mean, it was the best thing I could have done for my business, for booming. Now I'm known as the dental attorney.
Yeah.
I started taking on vet cases as well. So my practice now is dental and vets because they're very similar in the law and the way that they function legally. So that's essentially what I do. My corporate law practice is that. I also narrowed down my real estate and my estate planning.
Yeah.
That those were areas what I was doing, but I'm complementing the dentist. So the dentist, the vets, and I service those areas for them.
Got it. So when
Long answer.
yeah, no. But so I want to break it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, you had this drive, obviously, after a short period of time of working with a law firm, right? How long were you with the law firm when you got out of law school? It was 1 year.
1 year.
And then you said to yourself, I want to start a business with some other lawyers and practice different types of areas of law, but the stuff that I've been learning from this firm, right? And so what was that like? I mean, you were making this decision to kind of be like an entrepreneur, to go out, you know, kind of a young attorney, right? To open your own business and start that process. What was it like trying to get business?
It was really scary. I remember I couldn't quit. I went and I gave my resignation and my bosses were like, no, you're not going. And like, no. And they're like, you want to go litigate, come and bring your partner and we give him a job.
Oh, really?
So the partners said, no, we're going to give him a job and come and pitch us what you're trying to do, because they didn't litigate. They weren't
interesting.
litigation.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't even quit my job. But it was scary and it didn't work out, you know, for us to work together with them. I did you initially start doing that? No, we went to a couple meetings and we're like, you know, we were trying to figure out. I think for me, I wanted my full autonomy, and I figured that they were already my bosses at some point and I was working for them, you know, and I didn't feel that I was going to have that autonomy. Yeah. I think that as an entrepreneur, you have it, like you just have it, you know. I wanted to be able to service my clients in a certain way. Yeah. I wanted to, and now I realize it's hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard, but I'm it. Like I don't see myself working for anybody and doing, you know, I love to practice the way that I practice. Did the other lawyers that you were meeting up with, because I know you said one of them was kind of like a friend from law school, right? Yes. So he would have been out probably about a year or so, same. Yes. And then there was another partner that came in and also help, because it's kind of nice, like not having to do it completely on your own, right? You have a brain, you can brainstorm with a couple other people. Did the other person have any more experience or no? So the three of us went to law school together. Wow. Okay. But they had a little bit more experience, because after I finished Nova Law, I went to Italy. So they were practicing. I was already a licensed attorney here when I went to Italy. Sure. So they had about a year and a half more experience. So they were like 2.5 years. Got it. Okay. But one of my partners that I went to school with, he actually had he went out on his own before. Okay. So 6 months out, he reached out to me. He's like, "Let's start our practice right away." And I said, "I can't. I'm too green. I don't know what I'm doing." That first, you know, you don't know what you're doing. So I remember we met a Saturday in my house, and there was a client that he already had, and he's like, "Oh, we need to do a lease for him, or a notice of default." I don't remember what it was, but it was like a lease, and I don't know what I'm doing. Can we go and figure it out? And I was like, okay, let's go. And we had the conversation. I had the call with the client, and he signed up with us. We were able to get him. He paid us $4,000. Yeah. And that's how we started our firm. In my living room, I have a picture. It was the two of us there. And so I didn't have to come out of pocket. And that's what made me go and give my resignation and said, okay, we can do this. You know, if anything, 1 or 2 clients a month, we got it.
You know, it's so funny, like that entrepreneurial spirit that you have, and then like getting that first payment too. Yeah. So like I started my career at the state attorney's office, and I got to a point where I said, I was trying to get a job at like this one big law firm. I really liked them. I, interviewed, but they weren't hiring. Yeah. But I had a good case come along, and so I quit the state attorney's office and I opened up my own law firm for a very short period of time. And I remember like one of my first cases, it was like a public intoxication or disorderly conduct case. I was going to do a little bit of criminal defense and personal injury. And I remember the guy, it was like $1,000, and I'm like, yes, and I went to court for him, and I got the case dismissed. And then I went to deposit the check and it bounced. No. And I was like, no, I'm like, this is a bad start. Oh no. Representing the criminal, criminal elements. It was like, I should have known. It was a buddy kind of vouched for him, and I thought it, but it was so funny because it was that first $1,000. I'm like, yes, I got paid, and then it didn't go through.
Oh no! Yeah. Did you take us? You were like, wait, am I doing the right thing?
No, it was funny because I had another big case right at that time that I was able to get settled relatively quickly, and then within like a month of me opening up my own firm, and then like the next month, the law firm that I interviewed with a few months before reached out and said, we have a position. Amazing. And it was like perfect timing. Where I was like, I just wanted to go and learn from someplace, right. Have like the mentorship, and because I really wanted to handle catastrophic cases, wrongful death cases, things that were like, massive scaled big cases, and I didn't think I'd be able to figure that out on my own.
But you niched down to tobacco, right?
I niched down. It was interesting. I did a lot of personal injury, catastrophic injury for a number of years, and then in about 2014. Is when they put me in charge of the tobacco division in their firm. Yeah. But what was cool about that, it wasn't like as far as the practice area was niched as tobacco, but what was cool about it was that the umbrella of you're a litigator and a trial lawyer and some of the most complex, crazy, radical, great lawyers on the other side, tons of evidence. Yeah. So like, although I niched in tobacco, like I got more trial experience than anyone I knew because they didn't settle. So we were just trying case after case after case. And it's like once you get that skill of being a trial lawyer in a big wrongful death case like that or a big personal injury case, you can try anything, whether it's a car accident or a slip and fall or a medical malpractice. Like you have the skills to go in and put a presentation on.
Yeah, yeah, it's a skill. I litigated for 1.1 second in my career.
Yeah.
And it's a skill.
It's something.
And you need to have it. You need to have that focus. I've never been so exhausted in my life. It was a 3-day trial for real estate, and it was a 3-day, and I was like, I'm done. I first and last. That's it.
My first civil, because I tried a lot of cases as a prosecutor, but my first civil case was a bicycle accident case, and the lawyers in my office, this was like wasn't a massive case, but they threw me in. They said, Eric, go try it, And I went up against this really, really well-known, great lawyer from a big firm local. And I just remember, like, I couldn't eat during the entire trial. Like, I was just so locked in. And I remember I lost probably like 7 or 8 pounds because I'm just like, I can't eat. I can't
sleep. The bar
sleep.
Exam all over again.
No, it was just like getting in there. And I remember the judge, and the judge was great. And I ended up winning the case, which was great. It wasn't a huge win, but it was a win. It was a victory.
It's a win.
And
a win is a win.
It was a win is a win. It was a victory. And that was like one of the first trials I just remember. But so over time it starts to get easier. Going in and you're able to start eating. And eating has become the most important thing. Make sure you have like a lot of good food and stuff.
Yeah, and you balance. And then you figure out that this is just this is what we do, and we try to help people, and I think that that's the main point, that we try to help people and we do our best. And I think that that's one of the things I say the most in my practice. I am a lawyer, not a magician. I can only do so much. I didn't get you in this situation, but I'm gonna do my best, and let's hope for the best.
Absolutely. How when you opened up this law firm and you get your partners and you got that first case, what were some of the things that you did to market and to get more clients? Because I tell you, like, I think across the board, the solo practitioner, the small law firms, the most important thing for them is to bring in cases. If they don't have new cases, they don't have new clients, they can't generate revenue, they're not working on anything. What were some of the things that you would do to kind of bring in new cases?
Well, this was 2016.
Okay.
So social media was not what it is now.
Sure.
Right. So, I mean, we had Facebook for our friends and that's what it is. It's not what it is now. I remember we did a lot of networking groups, like the BNIs, and we just networked. One of the groups that I am in now, Miss Esquire, which is one of the other networker groups that I'm in, they have a Facebook group, and that was what Facebook was there. So she opened up a Facebook group, and a whole bunch of female attorneys were in there, and we ended up. There was an attorney that worked for all big law firms. She retired and came back to law because she just wanted to come back, and she posted in that Miss Esquire group saying, I want to help a women attorney group, and I want to help, like a women partner grow her firm. And this was, I believe, 2017. And she said, she posted, and I'm like, oh my gosh, definitely want to meet you. I think this is so admirable that you want to help. And she came and she interviewed with us, and she said, I want to work with you guys. I mean, and so that was a wealth of experience because we were new attorneys. So we were lucky in that regard, and we were baby attorneys, and we were just, I mean, it was like law school all over again. That first year, baby attorneys and opening your firm, because we were really trying to do a good job and networking. I think that the biggest marketing for us during that time was networking. We were just talking. I mean, we were both single, my partner and I, and we didn't have kids, we didn't married, and our baby was our law firm. So I think that networking with other professionals and then doing a good job, because your clients are your biggest referral source. Yep. So if you are there, if you're available, if you're transparent, because that's what I remember I used to, in my intakes, I would have, I know I'm a baby attorney, and you have to sell yourself. Sure. And I think that transparency was something that really got to me, got us business during that time. Networking and going to groups, having that attorney that we ended up hiring ultimately. She was a wealth of knowledge. So she was great in brainstorming, but getting out, she told us, I don't want to talk to clients. I'm just going to help you guys with the law.
Oh, that's good. Great.
Yeah. Which was great when we started, but networking and having that, which translates to how I market now. Because I think I'm very transparent with my clients, with the way that I network, with my social media. Yep. You have to be true to who you are. And that's how I've practiced. And that has been one of the things that has really gotten me business. People like and resonate with what I say and how I practice. And part of the reason that I went on my own is I want to practice the way that who I am.
Yeah, who you are. Yeah, right. For sure. Be yourself.
I can't be Duy the attorney, Duy the, I'm Duy, and in all my contexts. So I mean, my clients know when I'm on vacation, I'm like, I'm doing my hair. Hold on, I'll be right back. But that resonates because I'm human, So
when you were a younger lawyer, and you were just starting out that business, and you're bringing in business, would you, because of your experience or the lesser experience, would you charge less also?
I charged less.
Okay, see, that's another thing. It's kind of like a carrot, right? Like, hey, you can go to this more experienced lawyer. I think I'm going to get you the same result, and we charge less.
Yes, my hourly rate was lower.
Yeah, but that's natural for any, over time you're going to increase your hourly rate.
Right. Yeah, and it was because, and I used to tell them, now, I know I'm a baby attorney. I know I'm a younger attorney. However, what I tell you, I have no problem looking at you in the face and telling you, I need 2 or 3 days to research this and I'll get back to you. Yeah. But it's going to be the answer. I'm not going to give you a BS answer. You're going to know. If I tell you, that's what it is. And if I tell you, give me more time to research, and that's what it was. And then not just saying it for a sale, right? Yeah. Because you have to say it, I got the sale, but then we would actually do it. We would research absolutely everything. And that's why in 23, then you build your work ethic. That was my work ethic. Every industry that I took on, I really needed to go in. How how the industry works. How do you do it? What is it? I had a client that they used to manufacture poles and lumber and electric poles for municipalities. And that industry, they don't have contracts. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, it's 5 of us in the country. So you just like shake hands and that's it. I'm like, what do you mean you're working $25 million, $50 million projects?
Really?
And it's just, you know, like, it's fine. So, you know, educating yourself in the industry and really trying to go there, that's important. So niching down, when I niche down, then you become more of an expert in the industry, then you can charge a little bit more because obviously that's...
Sure. How, you know, again, you know, it's interesting because I think I'm convinced that some of the best cases that we get come from other lawyers and referral sources and networking. I just think it's just a great thing. And I think there's like, I think some people may not look at that traditional way of marketing the same way.
Right.
Like, how important has it been to your career?
Extremely important.
Yeah.
You have to know your industry, right? So social media, yes, or you brand. Yes, for me it's branding, but I do get a lot of my cases from other professionals.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is because I really open myself up to those professionals. So I think that is important for building relationships. I tell this to my clients. I tell it to people that I work with. I'm in the business, not of being an attorney. Like, my business is building relationships. So you do have those good cases, at least for me. I'm not going to say that it works for everybody, but I built the relationship, for example, with my dentist. They trust me. They know who I am. They're like, whoever you say, we'll go with. And then building that relationship with my professional network is important. So, you know, building the relationship with you, making sure that we meet. You know, we went to lunch and I wanted to make it a point to know you. You're inviting me. I'm like, yes, I want to go because I genuinely want to know who you are, because the people that you work with are the people that will represent you. So it's funny because your group is Rainmakers.
The Rainmakers, yeah.
And in all my networking groups, I win the Rainmaker Award. and it is because I think that you build the relationship with your clients, you build the relationship with your professional network, and they know that your work ethic. So I think that it's a combination of work ethic, professional relationships, and then generally wanting to work with the people that you like. I mean, you're not going to like everybody, but the people that you like and that you know that they're going to have the same values, same work ethic, because then my clients come to me and they're, oh my God, the family law attorney was amazing. I loved her. Now I have an accident. Who do I,
who do you call? Yeah.
Who do I call? And then I become their contact. And then like, whoever she refers, it's great.
Yeah.
So.
And then that person, you're helping that person too. You know, when you're like there, you know, I think we talked about this before. I can't remember, but I remember like we got a case and it came through Google, right? They found us. We have all the 5-star reviews. They loved us. I spoke to them. We signed them up. And it happens rarely, but it happens every so often. And like 2 or 3 days later, the client discharges us without me kind of knowing. And we actually ended up speaking. And I was like, well, you know, what's going on? He had hired a family friend lawyer. So he had spoke to a family member. And so you got to think about that. Like, you can have all the 5-star reviews in the world, but the person who's been hurt, or the person who has something, they're going to trust their closest friend. They're going to trust their lawyer, whatever area of law, their recommendation over the 5-star reviews. I'm convinced. It's just like,
100%.
you know, so having at least that network of people, and really it's just more like just being genuinely like a good person. You know what I mean? And like being interested in other people and going out and doing different things. I think it's so important. You know, it is the foundation to, I think, true rainmaking.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree with you. Yes, social media is great. Yes, podcasting is great, obviously. And that's more branding. I see it. That's the way that I see it. You're branding yourself. You want people to go to your page and see who you are, you know? But I think that it comes from that trust, that network. For example, my industry, dentists and vets, they're not in Instagram looking or, you know, the next attorney. They're going to ask somebody that purchased a practice.
Sure.
So I invest a lot of time in that and going to meet dentists at their, they have study clubs, so like continuing education clubs. So I'll go to their continuing educations. I go and and I wanted to get to know them, you know, and I host events for dentists and tailor myself to dentists and vets. My team is actually in a conference right now for vets.
Yeah.
And that's how we want you to get to know us, because that's how we work. So get to know us. We're
Yeah.
gonna be,
Yeah. No,
we
and
got your back.
And it's so like you like what's great about your practice, and not a lot of lawyers will do it, especially a lot of solos, or especially a lot of small law firms. They want to, and I think I see it across the board, and I don't see that it's the most successful method in running a firm, because I feel like when I hear they're stressed out, they're over killing themselves, and it's because they're in so many different areas, and they're trying to get so many different things, and they're trying to do the real estate, they're trying to do some criminal defense, and I'm going to handle a personal injury case. I can't tell you, I know a number of people that aren't personal injury lawyers, and then every so often they're reaching out, and it's like they got a personal injury case they've been working on. It's kind of a mess, and I'm like, you just shouldn't be working on it. You know what I mean? Like, you should focus on like what you did, which was you really, really niched down into, and I think it's just a phenomenal area, because it's like, you must have seen it. It's a growing area.
It's a growing area.
Like, so your niche, tell me again, what area is it?
Dentals.
Yeah.
Dental professionals buying, selling their practice, acquisition. And in the role, I mean, growing up, I used to work with my mom, with all her friends. So it's funny, we're working on a transaction and we're doing a closing, and I need an accounts receivable report, and I'll go to the dentist, because a lot of dentists have a really big admin problem, you know.
Sure.
It's I think like any professional, right? So in our industry is the same thing. We have the business of law. No one really teaches us the business of law. The business of dentistry, no one really teaches us. Now we're trying to figure out as entrepreneurs, but and so I'm in a transaction, and I'll say to a dentist, what software do you have? And they'll tell me the software. I'm like, that's the one that I've worked with. Don't worry, I'll get in and I'll do that. So that added benefit, I think it's in narrowing down and really becoming an expert in one industry, for me, has been life-changing.
And the area of dentistry, which I think is so interesting, and I noticed it wasn't always like this, but there was a period of transition, I think, for dentists, because dentists used to be like a lot of just kind of solo, like one-off kind of things, and then they became kind of a little bit bigger of groups.
Right.
But there wasn't a business model originally. Like when I was a kid, it was you go in there, you get your tooth extracted or whatever. But now it's kind of like some of these dentist offices, and I think they're fantastic. Yeah. They are true entrepreneurs.
Right.
They're providing a service, but not are they just providing a service? They've built a system in place where person goes in, they get checked, dentist comes in, then they go see the kind of like a sales associate or like a manager, and say, here's the buffet of different things that you're able to do. These are the prices. If you have insurance, it's going to cost this. If not, we're going to give you whatever, a discount.
Yeah.
And
your treatment coordinator.
And your treatment coordinator. And but like it makes it a little bit easier for the consumer, I think, to deal with. But it truly has become a business where I think they need a good lawyer to be able to oversee, like, either the purchasing of a business or the selling or the growth, because some of these are growing like crazy, you know?
Right.
They're buying buildings.
And they're entering to software contracts, because now everything's cloud-based. So those agreements, you want to make sure. I get a lot of growth questions, not only with my family, right? So what you say is very interesting, because with my family, we're growing. So now what you're seeing, these big groups, they're called dental support organizations, DSOs. And what they do is they come in and there's an administrative model. They handle only the administrative aspects, and it's a creature of stature as well. I mean, in the administrative code, it says, you can have a DSO, have it and help dentists, so that the dentist can come in and just do what they do, which is dentistry, right? So you have these agreements that are in place, and you help, the DSO helps the dentist.
And it's called a dental support organization?
Yes.
Have you set up these dental support organizations for dentists?
I do. I set them up for dentists because a non-dentist cannot own a practice. Yeah. Obviously, that is illegal. So normally the dentist hires this DSO company. Is a big employment contract that we have, or independent contractor contract, but is a service contract that we'll set up, and it will say, this is what you are allowed to do. This is what you are not allowed to do because you're in the professional service. Obviously you can't render dental service. You cannot set up prices. So that's something that the dentist has to set up. Hours of operation, anything related to the practice of dentistry cannot be set up by the DSO. But so there's a lot of opportunity for gray area there, right? But if they're set up correctly, that's those big groups that you're seeing. They have and they have their lawyers, and they have their contracts, and they have their agreements. And for my family, for example, we are in that process of building that processes and procedures because there is, and I think, and I'll talk about my family, right? Because I'm part of those groups also as the more of a general counsel for my family's business. But when I am in the executive meetings with them, our first goal is what transcends also in my law firm. We want to do what's good for the patient.
Of course.
And once you start with that, then you can break down all the aspects. How do we make the consumer experience? Like we have in our team, in our treatment coordinators, which are your salesperson, but that's not what it is. It's the person that explains your treatment and kind of tells you the prices. We have them ask the patient. The first question is, do you want to keep your teeth healthy for life?
Yeah.
Because that is like, we have our team trained. That is the first question you're going to ask, because that's going to tell us, where that person is, who you are, and the sales strategies that now my family, we're all into sales seminars and everything because we want to do that. Now, the main point is we want to do good work for dentists, for my family, and for me. I want to do what's best for the client. Every time that I think of anything, I'm like, I'm doing what's best. I'm building the relationship. I'm making sure that they know. I say this all the time in my intakes when I'm telling my job is for you to make an informed decision, and I'm going to guide you through the process. You should nothing legally should come to you as a surprise as a transactional attorney. Meaning that you should know if you're signing a lease, if you're reviewing a lease, you need to know what you're going to do. You have to take business risk, and that's the part of being an entrepreneur. So sometimes my clients will ask me, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, look, this is what the contract says. This is the legality. I'm going to tell you. And the same way I'm going to tell you, sometimes you have to take business risk and figure out, so can we minimize it? Can we get insurance for this? Some indemnification clauses in this leases.
Sure.
We can probably do something else and get insurance to offset whatever. Now, are we talking about something that's super catastrophic? That's where the insurance is not going to be enough, but are you willing to take on that risk? And I think that the clients appreciate that liberty of being able to be a counselor and explain and advise, but also give them the choice for them to figure out. So I always tell my clients that you make informed decisions with me, and that's important.
How important for dentists like throughout Florida, if they really want to scale and they want to grow their business and they want to set up these policies, these procedures, have the contracts in place, have the right systems in place, how important is it to hire the dental lawyer? You.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've worked with other attorneys that are big firms, competent attorneys, but you really need to know the industry to be able to. My added value is that I've been in there, I've managed, I've helped. My family calls me for everything legal, so I have the experience. But it's really important because you can have violations, HIPAA violations, OSHA violations that you're not aware of, or you can have what's normal, what's standard, how do we transfer these patients, how do you properly, I get so many times they're like, they're gonna sell the patients, and I'm like, you can't sell patients. And they're saying, sorry, you're gonna transfer custody of the records, but this is what happens. But it's illegal to sell. You don't sell patients.
Oh my God,
okay, you know what I mean. Or I have a DSO that was set up incorrectly, and they're a DSO, and they'll say, well, so I own a dental practice. Oh, okay, great, doctor. No, but I'm not a dentist. Oh, well, you don't own anything. You are not an owner of a dental practice. Let me break that down for you. You're not. So let me see your contracts, and let me see. And I do have a lot of that. So it is extremely important. I tell my clients, you want to sleep well at night. You want to know what you're doing. You want to make sure that that you're not breaking any laws that can, one, for the dentist, I think that the dentist is something that they need to be very careful if they're hiring a DSO and making sure that they're doing that, because, I mean, it's like us putting our license at risk.
Sure,
right?
of course, yeah.
It's like absolutely
You don't
not
want to
for
do
nothing.
anything to compromise. You don't want to do anything to
nothing.
compromise it. Yeah.
For no one, for not. So I think it's extremely important for the dentist to be able to know what they are responsible, what they have to do, and what they can delegate to the administrative companies.
Is that because the dental industry is a highly regulated industry? I mean, it's regulated, right?
It's regulated.
Yeah.
Florida Board of Dentistry, Department of Health, yes. So
Are you familiar with those regulations and those statutes and help translating them to in ordinary terms when you meet with a client who's running a dental practice?
Absolutely. And that's what I do. So I've sat down, I studied, I regularly listen to the Board of Dentistry meetings.
Really?
and a little bit because I also was involved in the management and for a short period of time, I used to help my mom and dent assist and be at the front desk and all of that. But so I kind of understand, like, I know what a crown is, how it works, what you have to do, So, but I do listen to those so that I can, what are the regulations? What are the standards in the actual medical for malpractice, for what commits malpractice? What do you need to do? How many x-rays do you need to take an x-ray before and after? So I do listen to those. And I like to tell my clients, I pull up the statutes. So now with this age of technology, I've developed a very, I want to say, efficient way of helping my clients. So we record all of our meetings where we go over leases, statutes, or anything like that, because if you have a meeting with a client, they may not really understand everything that happened or the contract, right? We're talking legalese that sometimes it takes us that we've been in the industry 3 or 4 times to read something. So I do an explanation, either my team or I will sit down in a meeting with them and we record the meeting and we put it in their file and we send it to them. So we go page by page.
That's great.
We color coordinate all of it. Anything that has to do, like if we're reviewing a lease, anything that has to do with payments is going to be in green, and anything. And what we think it's like we need to do is in red. And so we do that review. We want them to make informed decisions. So we want you to understand that. And regulations, everything like that, I always send them a copy of where I got it. It's not just I decided to do. I send them a case. I send them something so that they can have that reading material and really understand what the law says.
With your experience in working with so many different dental practices, are you able to help some of these smaller practices with some of like the systems, like, hey, this is a great software to use, or this is one way to scale, or this is one sales, tool that you can use? Have you done that before? I
have. I tell them my experience. Obviously, I'm like, look, this is not what we do. A lot of things we try with my family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, listen, like, you're not only just lawyer, understanding dental practice and the legalities of it, but since you've been involved as an entrepreneur in the business and an entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have that experience to help them with some of these questions that they may have and navigating those questions?
Absolutely. I tell them, look, this is what my family uses. This is another one. I think that one of the best advantages of niching down is then that you really get to know the vendors, the lenders in the dental industry. You really get to know the people. I know the vendors, the biggest vendors of the dental industry, the equipment vendors, the builders for dental offices. And so once you have this marketing perspective that you want to build the relationship, then I'm like, listen, these are all of the people that you can talk to. Go figure out who you like, who you want to work with. I've used them. My family uses the software. These people, they love them. Try it out. So see if you like them. So yeah. So that's an added bonus. Are
there people out there that are interested right now in buying dental practices that you help?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes. So we have a lot of the boomers are retiring. And we're in that transition where there are a lot of practices that are going to go for sale, but they're not. But the market right now is a lot of DSOs are coming in and wanting to systemize these solo and these boomer practices that are selling, and there's not enough inventory for the demand. I mean, it's like,
oh, really?
Do you have a practice? And it's funny because at times I feel like I'm broken. I'm like, I don't get anything, you know, but people inevitably ask me, like, do you know anybody that is selling? I'm
Sure.
looking for a practice. And then there's also the business of doing the build out, because a lot of people want their practice from the beginning, and that has a lot of lease negotiations, because then, you know, you have to get tenant improvements and go through that whole process. But yeah, the market right now, the demand is in the buy. There's no demand, so buyers are like, whatever I can get that has some sort of build out that I can start practicing if I want it turnkey.
Yeah, turnkey would be good if it has all the equipment and the chairs and the sinks and everything else.
And honestly, it's the build out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've seen some practice that I'm like, doctor, have you seen the equipment? No, it's old. I mean, it's the old X-rays on. It doesn't have a panel. It doesn't matter, but it has all the plumbing. It has. We can just change chairs and change the panoramic or the CBCT scan, but I can start working and generating, because the build out will take about 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
From permits, from lease negotiations, because then, you know, you're asking the landlord for improvements, and a lot of these leases will have some clauses that I tell my clients we can't. You know, one of the big ones is right to relocate. For us, it's not a big deal. I mean, we're attorneys. We'll move our chairs and our laptops. You can't ask that from a dentist.
Everything's secured to the floor.
Everything's secured to the floor as a fixture. So you need to make sure that clause needs to be removed.
Yeah.
So and a lot of landlords, sometimes if it's a big landlord, their legal team are like, okay, I get it. But if it's a smaller landlord, they're like, nope, I paid an attorney and my attorney did this lease and there are no changes. So, and here in South Florida, the landlord market is very tough.
What's a piece of advice that you would give to someone who's looking to niche down? Like, let's say they're handling all these different types of cases, but they're like, all right, now it's time. I should do something like niching down to a practice. What's a piece of advice?
First, sit down and say what you want to become and who you want to be. So I had to figure out my elevator pitch. I had to figure out, okay, like, how am I going to do this and how am I going to introduce myself, which I'm like, I help dentists buy, sell, and secure their practice with a smile. You know, so it's like,
that's
great.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect. I wish I knew what my dental pitch was. You know?
Your elevator pitch.
We help maximize our client settlements through compassion and excellence.
Yeah, amazing. See, yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So really thinking down what you're going to do, and then building a network of first professionals. So for me, has been attorneys, and I market myself initially. I'm a dental attorney. I'm not medical. I'm a dental attorney. That's what I am. And I'm a dental attorney. And then figuring out the needs of that industry. So if it's dentistry, I started, okay, the vendors. Okay, let me go to a study club. I remember I still do. I go to some of the study clubs where they do CLEs and for CEs, continuing education for dentists. And they do it at night because obviously they work all day. And all of these dentists are, there's big screens and like gross cases, and they're all eating. They're like, wow, look at that. And I'm like, I can't eat watching all of this.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but then you get to learn, and they get to know you and really be involved in it. And I think caring and really liking what you do. The other day, I woke up, I had 5 lease reviews, and I just told you how extensive my lease reviews are with my clients. And I almost killed my team because they put in 5 in a row at the same day. And I loved it. I was not, I mean, I was obviously tired, but for me, I was like, yes, great. My clients love this. And
that's in person with one of the clients when you're doing the lease review, or is it you sitting down reviewing the lease yourself?
No, we sit down through a Zoom meeting.
Got it.
So
yeah. I mean, whether it's Zoom or in person. Got it.
Yeah. And then I actually prefer them to be through Zoom because we record the Zoom and send it to them.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So, and I have my clients always come, but when anything that we do review, I do it through Zoom. That way we record it and send it to them and keep it in their file.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What, give me one tip for someone who's out there, maybe they're fresh out of law school or they're starting their own business, to be a rainmaker. Because you are active, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, you've done it. You've won the Rainmaker Award a number of times. So what's one good tip that they can start bringing in cases and being the Rainmaker?
I think there are two things. And the first, I think it would be trust your gut. I think that we are always seeking validation and we look for other people. And I think that that's important, yes. But you need to trust your gut. You need to get different advice from different people and really trust what you think and how you should practice and what you do. Right now, I mean, I just had lunch on Monday with a seasoned attorney that he's about to retire. And I called him because I needed help in a case, and I'm like, oh, I heard you're the best at this. And I was like, can I treat you out to lunch and do that? And it's cliche, but it works. I mean, when you sit down with somebody and really get to know that person, and we had an amazing lunch, and he's like, yeah, when I retire, I want to send you some of my cases. And I'm like, oh, amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, which is something that I learned in a CLE, and I can't remember who the professor was doing the CLE, but thank you, because it has changed my career. So I say it, but he said, you do good work and the money comes. Yeah. And every time I practice, every time I'm in a difficult case or anything like that, I think of that. And I say it to my team. I'm going to put it in my walls. I'm at the office. You do good work and the money comes. So, and that has been one of my biggest Rainmaker strategies.
Sure.
Not for rainmaking itself, but I do good work, and my clients refer me business. I with attorneys or with professionals, if I'm networking, you're part of there's no competition. Yes, people work with who they like and who they don't like and who they trust. And if we as attorney understand that, that I don't mind if there's another dental attorney here, or if you know what I mean? Like, that is important, because people work with who they like and who they trust. Yeah. So that's one of my biggest things. Just do good work and be you, and that's it.
And another great thing about niching down the way you did is that, like, you do great work for that dentist. The dentist went to dental school and has dental friends. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the whole, like, you're so niched down to an area where, like, that friend, they're going to tell their friend, they're going to tell the other person they know who owns a business. They're going to tell another person. You know what I mean? And, like, that's how growth happens.
Right. Right.
And I look at the same thing as, like, if we do exceptional service for our clients and they leave a 5-star review, or they really, we got them a great result, like, they're going to tell a friend. They're going to come back if something, God forbid, happens to them again. They're going to tell a family member. And I think that's totally, like, one of the top things is if you just do amazing work, do your very best. You can't be perfect, but you got to just put everything you got into it. Yep. It's going to come back.
Yep. And things happen, but and practicing with transparency, it's also very important. Authenticity.
Yeah, and setting expectations, letting them know exactly what the risks are, what can happen.
Who you are. Yeah. I think that, there's not... I think for me, it would be exhausting, and that's what I tell you. I am who I am all the time. It's the funniest thing, because I am who I am, and my mom tells me sometimes, you're an attorney. Like, I'm like, this is who I am, It is what it is. But I think having that authenticity and that compatibility with your clients, I think it's important,
How do people get in touch with you if they want to reach out? If there's a dentist out there, or someone who's running a dental practice, or I forget what his name, the dental organization, the dental support organization group, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, through our social media, our website, at Gangi Legal Care, Gangi Legal Care, www.gangilegalcare.com. LinkedIn, social media, we're all over. TikTok, we're all over. So anywhere.
All right. Well, listen, it's been fantastic having you on here on the Rainmakers Network podcast. I really appreciate it. This has been really, really awesome. I love your practice. I love your energy. And,
Thank you so much, Eric.
I'm just looking forward to it continuing to grow.
I am so excited for us to continue to grow and really develop our network and do a lot of things together. So.
And you're going to come to the dinner too, right?
I
the
am.
Rainmakers Network dinner. Good.
It was a Rainmakers Network. I'm there,
That's
of course.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much.